For years, foreign capital moved into India through a decentralized network of thousands of accounts, often landing in regional branches with minimal friction. This lack of centralization made it difficult to trace the ultimate destination of funds, creating potential vulnerabilities for the misuse of international contributions. To manage these risks, the state utilizes the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, or FCRA. The 2020 amendments replaced the previous decentralized system with a framework of rigid, centralized controls. This new design was built to enforce transparency by funneling all foreign NGO capital through a single monitored channel. The ultimate authority for this structural shift came directly from the legislature. The government set a dual mandate: prevent the misuse of foreign funds and ensure that all incoming capital supports national development goals. As the data streams converge into the node, the state established a regulatory firewall, closing off regional entry points and routing all international NGO funding into a single gateway. This shift replaces regional banking autonomy with a system of centralized federal oversight. For NGOs, compliance is no longer a matter of periodic reporting, but of operating within this physically restricted capital pipeline. The first phase of this model begins at the point of entry. Foreign funds can no longer be received in a local bank of an organization's choice. The new law now specifically designates one mandatory centralized gateway for all foreign NGO capital: the State Bank of India. Specifically, funds must land in the main branch in New Delhi. This creates a physical and digital bottleneck that enables the federal government to monitor transactions in real time. While NGOs are funneled through this branch, other categories of recipients are blocked entirely. Public servants, judges, and employees of state-controlled corporations are prohibited from receiving any foreign contributions. This restriction is designed to shield the state's administrative and judicial functions from external financial influence. By bottlenecking the entry point and isolating the civil service, the state establishes a rigid system of oversight that begins the exact moment a dollar crosses the border. Once the capital passes through the New Delhi branch, it reaches the primary FCRA registered organization. In the past, a primary recipient could act as a distributor, transferring portions of their grant to smaller, secondary organizations. The 2020 amendments ended this practice by prohibiting the transfer of foreign funds to any other entity. The receiving NGO must be the sole executor of the funds, spending the capital only on its own authorized activities. Prohibiting these transfers ensures that every dollar remains with the entity the government has vetted, placing total legal and financial liability on the primary recipient. The state also regulates how the primary NGO is permitted to spend the capital it receives. Previously, organizations could spend up to 50% of their foreign funding on administrative overhead, such as rent, travel, and salaries. New regulations have reduced this cap significantly, limiting administrative spending to just 20%. This leaves 80% of the funding legally restricted to the organization's core programmatic objectives. This shift is intended to ensure that the majority of foreign capital is applied directly to societal work rather than internal operational costs. Beyond tracking the money, the state also tracks the individuals who manage it. All key functionaries, directors, and officers must provide biometric identification during registration or renewal. For Indian citizens, this requires an Aadhaar card, creating a permanent biometric link between the individual and the organization's compliance history. Foreign nationals and OCI holders must provide their passports to meet these identification requirements. If there is a suspicion that these operational or identity rules have been violated, the state can deploy significant punitive measures. The government's power to suspend an organization's registration has been doubled, allowing for a 360-day freeze to conduct exhaustive investigations. The combination of biometric mapping and extended suspension periods provides the state with significant leverage over an organization's ability to operate. While the rules for NGOs have tightened, the 2022 guidelines introduced a contrast for private citizens. These specific rules apply to individuals receiving money from relatives abroad for personal use, completely outside the NGO system. The threshold for notifying the government of these private transfers has increased from 1 lakh to 10 lakh rupees. If that 10 lakh limit is exceeded, the reporting window has been extended from 30 days to 90 days. This targeted relaxation suggests that the state's primary focus is on dismantling institutional influence networks rather than restricting personal family support. When viewed as a whole, these individual amendments form a singular, interconnected system. Every foreign dollar follows a monitored path through the SBI bottleneck, is restricted to internal use within a vetted entity, and is linked to the biometrics of its managers. This centralized pipeline has replaced the decentralized web of the past. The result is a framework designed to ensure end-to-end traceability for all foreign NGO capital entering India. For directors and compliance consultants, this is the operational reality. Success is measured by an organization's ability to navigate these systemic constraints. This regulatory architecture is designed to lock the nonprofit sector into a state-monitored system, shielding it from external financial influence by making every transaction visible. In this era of the FCRA, transparency is not just a policy goal, it is a condition built directly into the system's design.